Hello everybody. Welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're all doing fantastic and that you're all having a wonderful day. Don't forget to leave a like on the video. It helps out the channel, it helps out my algorithm, and it's also free. And without any further ado, let's jump right into it. I'm shocked that this news was actually popular because a lot of times news like this for some reason is not popular. Capula Management, Europe's fourth largest hedge fund, has announced that they have $500 million in Bitcoin through the ETFs. You are probably going to notice a bit of a continued trend over the course of this video. A lot of times, all the time, every single time that there's any kind of dip in the market, people react ridiculously. That's the nicest word. If you missed the last couple of videos when we had the beginning of August stock market terrible, everyone be scared crash, it was revealed from a number of, on-chain analytics companies that the people who sold their crypto were the people who recently got into the market and or retail investors who also did not have a large amount of Bitcoin and or cryptocurrencies. You know who did buy? Because we had massive whale buying news as well. It was the rich people. Again, that's why I said not sometimes, it's all the time. So we continue with this everyday gradual rollout of news of these companies who are continuously buying large amounts of Bitcoin. And I can only hope that everyone continues to pay attention. Capula Management, Europe's fourth largest hedge fund, announced that it has a significant amount of Bitcoin totaling $500 million. The detailed breakdown shows Capula's significant holdings in two leading Bitcoin ETFs. They are iShares, and that's 252 million. They also have 224 million plus 28 million. Okay. In parallel, Capula invested 212 million in Fidelity Wise Origin Bitcoin Trust, another major player in the cryptocurrency ETF market. I continuously wonder all the time. Like, I could not have a Bitcoin ETF and not be shocked by this news being Grayscale. That is to say, Grayscale still has, I think, a 2.5% fee. I don't know how I would be able to physically react if I heard that a hedge fund had purchased $500 million worth of Bitcoin and my name, like the name of my company, was also not there. But for whatever reason, Grayscale still has an extremely high fee. Capula Management is a famous London-based hedge fund, yada, 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 so and so and so. Yeah, made relatively popular news. The CEO came forward talking about that Bitcoin is amazing and awesome and fantastical, and they see it as kind of the future. But I mean, at this point, we could have all kind of gotten that and or understood it, just simply because all the rich people keep buying up all the Bitcoin and have been doing so for a very long time. We had news, this was now 2 weeks ago. It's definitely been a while. Where for those of you who also missed this in the video, the amount of Bitcoin being held by whales, I believe, is 91 or 92% of the market, like of all the Bitcoin that there is. And there was a lot of news around that time of people being like, it's not fair, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, nope. These people continue to buy all the time. They don't sell their Bitcoin. They hold on to their coins. And I've even told you before, and just in case you've forgotten, a lot of times if we get whale news, and this is also every time, if we get any kind of whale news that a large amount of coins have been placed onto a cryptocurrency exchange, the media will announce that this must be a rich person who's looking to sell, but every single time since 2017. It's just a whale putting their coins onto an exchange to get people to think that they're going to sell, and then people end up selling, trying to front run the person who deposited the coins. These coins get magically bought up, and then we have news the next day that a huge amount of Bitcoin has once again left crypto exchanges. It's the same loop over and over, and it's the literal definition of insanity because no one is learning and everyone keeps doing the exact same thing over and over. That's the Capula, I think it was called, Capula Investment. Capula Investments has purchased in total nearly $500 million worth of Bitcoin. Cool. Just makes a lot of sense. The rich keep getting richer. And yeah, let's move on. Also in the news, and I'm glad that someone finally reported this. I've told all of you the last couple of weeks, and I'll even give you a full month, a large, and I know it's just Bitcoin maximalists. I know that's no one else. I know it's no one else but them. A lot of Bitcoin maximalists on Twitter and other places have been reporting, I don't know, that the Ethereum ETFs are not doing well, that there's no demand for them. No one wants Ethereum. Ethereum's doing this, and this isn't happening to Ethereum. And I mentioned to all of you before, for those of you who also missed it, so you know how like Ether is created by like having Ether? Like it's the only way to create new Ethereum. And every year we have like a number or a metric for how much Ether is actually being created. Like, so we can see how much is being made mathematically and also how much is being burned. We went over that before in another video. If I'm not mistaken, we also just went over this on Twitter. The amount of Ether that gets made per year equates to $130 million. Please keep that number close to your heart as we go over this. The BlackRock iShares Ethereum ETF has entered the top 6 ETF launches of every single ETF this year. BlackRock has been proving the pundits wrong amid claims that there has been little or no demand for spot Ethereum ETFs. These people are losers and they have nothing else better to do with their time. Imagine you have an entire 24 hours to yourself. Okay, 16, 18 hours because you know you gotta sleep. But the rest of the time that you are awake, alive on this planet, you make sure that you are just lying to people online to let them know the exact opposite of what's going on because you love Bitcoin so much. Cool, I get it. Bitcoin's the number one coin, but you're basically only lying to yourself and wasting your time when you could be doing other things like actually promoting Bitcoin. People for the last couple of weeks have made it their job to let other people know, and I told you before in other videos as well, there were a number of days where, for instance, let's say the amount of outflows from the ETFs were for Ethereum was around $12 million. That same day, inflows would be 80 million, so therefore plus. However, every article was talking about how Ethereum's in trouble. Ethereum keeps inflating. Ethereum, there's nobody wants it. Why are there so many outflows? And it's like, no one did the math because the inflows were more than the outflows. The asset manager's ETHA ETF took another $108.4 million in daily inflows on the 6th of August. This comes in the same week where we saw everyone panicking and all the prices going down because everyone was losing their minds. On Crypto Black Tuesday, no one's calling it that, the fund took $47 million, bringing its total inflows to $868 million in just 2 weeks. Remember the first number that I gave you, the $130 million? The entire yearly supply, and I know like 3 people are listening, so, you know, bless your heart. The entire yearly supply of Ether being made is being purchased in about 5 days through the ETFs. Did anyone hear that? So you know how sometimes often we get news of the amount of Bitcoin being created per day and how much is being purchased. So you know how like a lot of times we will hear that 8, like the number 8, 8 days of Bitcoin being mined has been accumulated just by the ETFs. Remember the golden days where it was 13 times the daily production of Bitcoin? This is the entire year. The entire year of Ethereum gone in 5 days. This one fund, $868 million in just 2 weeks. A lot of people keep pretending that this isn't a thing. Even crazier, I just mentioned before on Twitter, I want the market to make sense. It does not compute with me at all how these people are managing to keep prices down. And I don't care what coin you're looking at. It's the same exact thing. Some days the Telegram coin is doing extremely well and people are like, it's a popular coin. So's Bitcoin, so's Ethereum, so's XRP. I can also name a bunch of other coins, but we won't name them in this video. Multiple years of Ether is gone into these ETFs. 90% of all the Ether that there is no longer on crypto exchanges. Anywho, yeah, this is, I hope at some point that things make sense again. I wish I was joking. I'm not sure if you can hear by the tone of my voice. This market's incredibly weird. It's not slightly weird. I mean, also a good portion of people on Twitter have nearly completely lost their minds and are no longer attached to reality. But the other part of it is the market's also not attached to reality in any way, shape, or form. Regardless of how good the news is over the course of the last 2 years, a lot of people are very blasé, very passive about anything happening within this space. The idea, so first of all, we should, and I mean, if we can be completely frank with each other, Ethereum should be well over $10,000 a coin just off of that information alone from the last 2 weeks. Bitcoin is being purchased and taken off of exchanges, for those of you who missed the last couple of videos, in ways that we haven't seen in just about a good almost nearly a decade. They're buying, they're accumulating, they're hoarding, they're not selling. The only people who continue to sell when prices dip or drop are new people in the space, are retail holders, while you basically only just continue to make the rich richer than they ever thought that they could actually be. So at some point, I, still keep hope alive that things will make sense at some point. I find it very odd that no one's calling for a $25,000 Ether. There's none left. Like there's literally, the only people I told you, the only people who, it's quite exhausting, but we've also been here before. Yeah, the Ethereum ETFs have huge amounts of demand, not to mention the other ones around the world as well, in Hong Kong and Canada and throughout Europe. These are still taking in millions of dollars per week. Sometimes it's 3, 4, 5 million. People look over it and go, well, it's not, it's not whatever. And it's like, it's still a huge amount when there's barely any left. And the only way to create any more is to also own it. So that's the Ethereum ETFs are doing swimmingly news. But for some reason, prices and the cryptocurrency market seem not to care about any news that's entering the market. Okie dokie. Let's move on. Also in the news, Morgan Stanley, one of the largest investment banks in the United States, has announced they will be allowing 15,000 financial advisors to begin offering Bitcoin ETF products to eligible clients. Interestingly, it says, I feel like this is incorrect, but it says Interestingly, this is the first time a major Wall Street bank has given its wealth management division the green light to promote crypto-based investment products. Yeah. So the way that it tends to work, or has worked thus far, and I mean, I assume we're going to continue seeing this trend, is that the banks, when they announce that they're actually into Bitcoin, they only give exposure to their wealthiest clients first. It's usually their clients come to them and say, hey, I already have a brokerage account. I already have a so-so and so-and-so with you. I don't want to go anywhere else. Are you offering this? And they go, no, but we will. And then they get 75 more calls. And then they go, cool, we're going to now begin to offer this as well. So 15,000 of their workers are now going to be eligible and able to promote Bitcoin and Bitcoin ETFs to their wealthiest clients as the amount of Bitcoin around the world continues to dwindle. A friend of mine was asking this question, and it never ever occurred to me. He was asking if any whales watch my channel, and I was like, I don't know. I can only tell by the comment section. Side note, do not tell anyone ever how much Bitcoin or money in general that you have, because it's not their business. Yeah, so he was asking, he was like, I wonder how many whales are watching your channel, because someone out there has to be listening when I'm like, the whales are buying up all the stuff, right? Like, it has to have some kind of impact where like very wealthy people are also like, wait, he's totally correct. I should also be buying some as well. Yeah, so I have a lot of friends who are into crypto. A lot of people are buying. I mean, not these, not these levels, but it continues to dwindle. I am terrified of what the future is going to look like when around 7.9 billion people on the planet realize that they have absolutely no Bitcoin. And it's very expensive to buy any Satoshis because rich people are setting themselves. I mean, can we talk here? Rich people are setting themselves up to never ever have to ever work again. Not them, not their kids, not their grandkids. I mean, at least until the year 2140. But at that point, you're so wealthy, you have so many other assets, generational wealth and all that. That's the Morgan Stanley news. Not too surprised, because that's how rich people and money work. Yeah. Let's move on. Also in popular news, MicroStrategy is trying to raise another $2 billion by selling more shares to buy more Bitcoin. Yeah. We heard recently, I think it was 2 or 3 days ago, from Michael Saylor, who announced to the world, because I don't know why, that he has over $1 billion worth of Bitcoin, for those of you who missed that. He didn't say the exact number, but he said well over 1 billion. We knew before that he had over 6 figures worth of Bitcoin, so who knows where it is now. And then we also had news that MicroStrategy, this was 2 or 3 weeks ago, that they had purchased, I believe, it was like 486 Bitcoin. It was some weird number. They were trying to round up or round out the number, because MicroStrategy, the company, now has, I believe, 235,000 Bitcoin. Just one company. Just one, not multiple, just one. And the CEO also has 6 figures of Bitcoin as well. So now they've refiled with the SEC, trying to get billions more as well. For those of you who don't know the saga of MicroStrategy, they started out by raising, I think, 100 million, and then it was 250 million, and then it was $500 million. And then the next time they announced it, I believe it was 700 million, and then it was $800 million. And now they're trying to completely blow that one right out of the water. In the regulatory filing with the US SEC, the Virginia headquartered company said that it plans to raise $2 billion by selling its Class A shares. While the exact timeline for selling these shares was not disclosed, the filing reads that the proceeds will be used for general corporate purposes, including the acquisition of Bitcoin. And then they go to talk about it, but it's basically just a mimic of what I just said. Yeah, MicroStrategy is buying more Bitcoin. None of you should be surprised. It's just what they've been doing over the course of a long period of time. What you should be surprised by is the fact that one company has so much Bitcoin. They continue to accumulate. Yes, they do. And the supply of Bitcoin for 8 billion people continues to dwindle. I think the worst part about me saying that is that I know how people are. I've been with people before who I've tried, friends who I've tried to help retire, who I've tried to get in the mood to buy real estate, to buy investments, to buy stocks, to buy crypto. And I know a lot of times, maybe it's the sound of my voice, I'm not really sure, but people openly roll their eyes at me. I've seen it before. I don't know if I ever told you. I had a couple of friends who I was telling them about investing. This is over the course of years, and actively at dinner or when we were hanging out. It was always a topic of discussion if markets dropped and they received the news and they were able to say, hey, how's the market going? I saw it dropped. But even when markets were down, I still tried to help them invest or save money or put money away. And every time I said something about money, they would actively roll their eyes at me. So I know that at least a fraction of people, when I say that there's not a lot of Bitcoin left, you will never be able to own as much Bitcoin as you want or as you need. I know that there's always someone going, well, I have Solana and I just really wish you the best of luck. I find it nearly tone deaf to be able to receive news like this all the time and for people to not pay attention. MicroStrategy is not raising $2 billion to buy any other coin. The fourth largest hedge fund in Europe has $500 million of Bitcoin, not any other coin. And we keep hearing about hedge funds and companies who are also buying large amounts of Bitcoin and not any other coin, and how you can so desperately make sure that you are not part of the future is mind-boggling to every cell in my body. That's the MicroStrategy is looking to raise $2 billion. We will, of course, because they always announce when they have raised it, and then when they have bought more Bitcoin, and then, yeah, even the last time that the market's so weird and so whatever right now, the last major news that we had from MicroStrategy of them actually buying several $100 million worth of Bitcoin did nothing to the price. It is quite odd the time that we are living in. That's the MicroStrategy news. And yeah, let's move on. Also I don't think anyone's going to be upset with this one. Circle, the people who make USDC or Circle coin, have announced that they will be ending support for their stablecoin on the Flow blockchain starting on the 3rd of September. In a blog post, Circle announced that its decision to end USDC support on Flow is due to the blockchain network's upcoming Crescendo upgrade, that's a terrible name, by the way. Crescendo usually means like the high point, like usually not that you can only go down from there, but like, like the high note in an opera, like that's usually like, that's the crescendo, like that's the high point that everyone's waiting for. And then after that is just lull. If you're naming your upgrade Crescendo, that means that this will be the peak for your chain. Minting on the US dollar peg stablecoin will continue until the 27th of August. Circle Mint customers, retail USDC holders, and non-Circle customers who hold the stablecoin on Flow Cadence are highly encouraged to transfer from Flow, there we go, to other blockchains ahead of the 3rd of September 2024 deadline. So the last time we had Flow News. I think it was about 1986. No one talks about the Flow chain anymore. I can only assume this is because of lack of liquidity. No one talks about Flow. I think Flow was also touted as an NFT chain. I feel like that's correct. Wasn't Flow the chain that all the DC NFTs were on? Like DC as in like Detective Comics, like Marvel DC, like that one. I think they were all on Flow, if I'm not mistaken. No one talks about it. No one is using it. So I assume this is either because of something bad behind the scenes that we are not privy to, and or is because of general lack of liquidity with no one actually using it. I don't know. Anywho, that's the Circle coin is no longer going to be minting on Flow. Like I said, I don't think anyone's going to be angry or sad at that, but if you have it on that chain, make sure to transfer it because it sounds like you won't have any access to your money after. Moving along. And then, you know what? Sure, why not? Let's just, go for it. Ethereum co-founder Vitalik Buterin has shared a brand new vision for cross-chain interoperability between Ethereum Layer 2 networks, which could vastly smoothen the experience within the Ethereum ecosystem. In a Twitter post, Buterin responded to a question on the most promising paths to addressing cross-Layer 2 interoperability. He said, I think people will be surprised by how quickly cross-Layer 2 interoperability problems stop being problems, and we get a smoother user experience across the entire Ethereum verse. And then he has like a roadmap that, okay, cross-Layer 2 roadmap in one tweet. 3770 cross layer 2 adders, 7686 cross layer 2 sends via liquidity providers, 3668 layer 2 light clients, cross L2 replayable account state updates. What? He said the above is enough already. Later for phase 2, L1's load static call, key store rollups, and proof aggregation. So Ethereum over the course of this year has kind of, rebranded to we're going to do it, or something along those lines, where once again, normally we would hear about one upgrade or update for Ethereum like per year that was going to happen. This is around 15 or 16 at this point, as we also just recently had news as well from Vitalik and a bunch of other people that there are also other updates and upgrades planned. No dates on any of them at all. They're just kind of thrown into the air as this thing will eventually land. Still the most popular blockchain, and I wonder how much further ahead it would be if a lot of these upgrades from 2016 and 2017 actually ended up happening. But anywho, yeah. That's the Vitalik Buterin said more things are coming to Ethereum, or Layer 2 is going to pick up a lot of the slack from Layer 1, which I think does more transactions than it did before, but also, I feel like they could do a lot more, but once again, I'm not a coder, so I can't really say. I think that's going to do it for this video. I do hope that you've all enjoyed. I do hope that you all left a like to help out the channel. I do hope you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it is absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.